I met Renee at a friend's wedding. She had this calm smile that made the room slow down. She wore red. I remember that part like it's tattooed in my brain. We talked for hours by the punch table, and by the end of the night, I'd forgotten why I even came. She said she had a son, Jason, quiet kid, stayed mostly to himself. He had the kind of silence that didn't feel shy, just secretive, but I didn't press. Renee told me she'd raised him alone, and I admired that. We moved in together 6 months later. I bought her flowers every Friday, left notes on her pillow, cooked her breakfast even on my late shifts. I loved her like a queen. Jason didn't call me dad, which was fine. He was 23, already a grown man. But there was something odd. He stared too long when she walked across the room. He got jealous when I touched her waist in the kitchen. I told myself I was overthinking it. Until I saw the kiss. It was late. I came home early from work. Car broke down halfway, so I took the bus. I walked in quietly, just wanting to sneak up on her with the takeaway in my hand. But the moment I opened the door, I saw it, Jason's hand cupping her cheek, her lips on his. My heart didn't break instantly. It paused, like it needed time to figure out how. I dropped the bag, she jumped. He didn't, he just looked at me like he'd been waiting for this day. You weren't supposed to see that, she said, voice shaking. I wasn't supposed to be the fool either, I replied. I stood there frozen. Everything inside me was screaming, rage, confusion, heartbreak, but my feet didn't move. Jason stepped in front of her, like I was the threat, like he was protecting her from me. How long? I asked. My voice came out low, almost calm, too calm. It scared even me. Renee looked down, then at me, then at him. Before you, she said quietly. It was before you. I felt sick. You said he was your son, I whispered. I never said that, she snapped back. You assumed, I just let you. That was the moment the fool in me woke up, loud and angry. I remembered the little things, the way she never kissed him on the forehead, just the cheek, the weird tension whenever I mentioned him moving out, the way she always looked nervous when I praised her for being a strong single mother. Why? I asked. Why let me think that? Why live this lie? Because I needed peace, she said. Her eyes glistened with tears. I needed something real. I didn't think it would last this long. You were kind, gentle, safe, but... She paused and looked at Jason. You were never who I loved. Jason stayed silent, coward. I laughed, it was bitter. It burned my throat. So what was I? Your cover story. Your shelter. Your fool with a wallet and a heart stupid enough to give you both. She flinched, but said nothing. I turned to Jason. And you let me call you Zon. You sat at my table, slept under my roof, looked me in the eye every day like it was nothing. He finally spoke. You were just in the way, man. I dropped my keys. Not by accident, that was my goodbye. I walked out. No shouting, no punches, no slamming doors. Just silence, heavier than anything I've ever carried. I didn't even take my jacket, or my phone. I just walked, one foot in front of the other, like I was trying to leave behind every second I'd spent loving her. The cold bit into me, but it didn't compare to what was tearing me up inside. My mind was spinning with every little memory. Movie nights, slow dancing in the kitchen, the way she used to hum when she thought I was asleep. Was any of it real? I found myself at a 24-hour diner a few blocks down. Same one we used to visit after long drives. I sat at our booth, well, my booth now, and stared at the cup of black coffee the waitress brought over without asking. Rough night? She asked. I looked at her. She had kind eyes. I nodded. You could say that. You want to talk about it. I shook my head. I don't even know what to say yet. Fair enough, she said. Sometimes sitting in the pain is the first step. She left me alone. And that quiet, that real quiet, was the first peace I'd felt in months. But it didn't last. Because the next morning, she called. Not Renee, Jason. His voice was steady, cold. She's gone, he said. What do you mean gone? I asked, heart pounding. She left a note, said she couldn't face either of us anymore. I stood up, nearly knocking over my coffee. What did it say? I demanded. He hesitated. It said she never meant to fall in love with both of us. I sat back down slowly, phone pressed to my ear like it might burn me. She never meant to fall in love with both of us. I repeated, barely believing the words. Jason didn't answer right away. She said she was broken before either of us showed up. That you gave her peace, and I gave her chaos. And she didn't know which one was love, so she kept both. And now she's just gone, I asked. Where would she go? Jason exhaled. I don't know, she left her phone. Her purse, everything, just that one note. I didn't respond. He added, there's something else. She left a second note. For you, in your drawer, top left. I hung up and ran. I hadn't planned on going back there so soon. But hearing her name in the past tense lit a fire in my chest. I needed answers, closure, or maybe just to prove she hadn't completely vanished. I stepped into the house. It smelled like her. Lavender and something soft I couldn't name. The silence felt different this time, like the house itself was embarrassed. I went to my drawer. My hands were shaking. I found it, folded, cream-colored paper with my name and her handwriting. "My love," it began. "You weren't my mistake, you were my miracle. But I was never whole, and I knew it. Jason," he reminded me of the wild, untamed girl I used to be, "but you gave me a home. A calm I didn't think I deserved. I tried to live 2 lives, and in the end I lost both of you. Please don't hate me. You were the only man who ever truly saw me. Forgive me." I sat on the floor for hours, just holding that letter. Then the door creaked. Jason stood there, holding something in his hand. It was her necklace, the one I gave her on our 1-year anniversary. It was broken, like everything else she left behind. "She didn't take this," he said. "So I guess she never really chose either of us." I stared at it, then at him. "No," I said, "she did choose. She chose to run." It's strange how pain becomes part of your routine. Like making coffee with a limp in your chest. Like forgetting to set 2 plates at dinner. I moved cities, new place, new job, new name on the mailbox. I needed distance, not just from her, but from the version of me who loved her so blindly. I never heard from Renee again. No calls, no sightings, no bank activity. According to the detective I hired for 3 desperate months, it was like she'd vanished into dust. Jason called twice after that day. Once to say sorry, once to say he was moving abroad. I let both go to voicemail. We never spoke again. But the thing about the past is, it doesn't always stay there. Last week, I stopped by an antique bookstore after work. I wasn't looking for anything, just trying to kill time before the rain passed. That's when I saw it. A painting, framed, tucked between old travel books. It was her. Not a photo, a portrait, soft brush strokes. Her eyes almost exactly right. Hair pulled back like she always did when she was trying to focus. She looked peaceful, almost free. The signature at the bottom. Raw stone. Her initials, Renee Ann Stone. I asked the man behind the counter where it came from. He looked at me like I'd asked about a ghost. Sends a new piece every few months. No return address, cashes the checks, never says a word. My heart was thundering. "She's alive," I whispered. He nodded. "She always paints the same woman. 2 slight changes, but always her." My blood ran cold. "What woman?" He turned the frame around and pointed to the stack of older works beneath. And there she was again. Same face, different backdrops, but in every single one, there was a shadow of me. A hand, a watch, a profile in the background. Always me. She never reached out, but she never really let go either. I didn't buy the painting. I left it there. Because sometimes, the most powerful closure is knowing you were the only thing she could never stop drawing. 2 weeks later, I got a letter. No stamp, no return address. Just slid under my apartment door while I was out. Inside was a plane ticket, one way. Destination, a quiet coastal town in the south of France. The note with it was barely 5 words. Written in that same handwriting, I thought I'd memorized and buried. "If you still need answers." I held the paper like it might vanish if I breathed wrong. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't tell anyone. I just packed and went. I found the cottage by the sea on my 2nd day there. White shutters, blue door, easel on the porch. I didn't knock, I just stood there. She came out slowly, barefoot, with a paint-stained cloth in her hands. Older, thinner, but still her. And when our eyes met, after all that betrayal, silence and distance, I didn't feel rage or sorrow. I felt something worse. Understanding. She didn't speak at first. She looked at me like a memory she'd painted too many times to believe was real. Then she whispered, "I never stopped painting you because." That was the only way I could apologize. I stepped closer. "I didn't come here for revenge." I said, "I came to know if you were sorry." I am," she said, voice cracking. "But I was also in love, in 2 different ways. And I handled it like a coward." We stood there in silence, the sea behind her, wild and endless. Then I said what I never thought I'd be able to. "You were my lesson, not my ending." She broke down, quiet tears, not begging, not pleading, just a woman who finally stopped running. I didn't stay. I didn't kiss her. But before I left, I gave her the one thing she gave me, even through all the pain.